Hi guys, welcome to my channel. You are welcome. My name is Nitin. So today we're gonna see life cycle of functional component. So it consists of three phases: mounting phase, updating phase, and unmounting phase. So what is mounting phase? So the mounting phase in the React life cycle is the stage where a component is created and added to the DOM. So that is created for the first time. So what does it mean? So whenever we have created a functional component, so whenever it loaded into the browser, so for the first time, so this phase is called mounting phase, and we will see in the hands-on, so in detail. So yeah, so next we have updating phase. So what is updating phase? A phase where a component re-renders because of changes in the state and prop. So we saw in my previous video what is state and prop. If you guys didn't saw that, please watch before this. Yeah, we'll continue. So whenever state or prop change, I mean, change means whenever the state and prop variable is reassigned, not assume we have an object, we have updated any property in that object, so that will not trigger re-rendering because React watches only for reassigning, not the uh, value updating in the object or yeah, this is a updating phase. So we'll see what is unmounting phase. So unmounting phase where component is removed from the DOM. So assume you are in the home page and there is a profile page. In that profile page, there is a profile card. So as we saw in my previous video, so assume the user comes to home page. The profile page from the DOM will be destroyed because there is no need of that, right? So what React does in unbounding phase, that will destroy the profile card page in the profile. So whatever component is in present in the profile page will be destroyed because user is not no more using that. So that will reduce the load in the browser. So that will make application fast and it will consume less memory in your browser. Yeah, I think yeah that's it about unmounting this. So we'll dive into VS Code and yeah, we'll see now in the hands-on like how this lifecycle works. So what I do in the main.js, there is a app component, we have auth component, and let me create another component called child.jsx. So in that inside that I just create one functional component, function child, and make sure you are exporting it default child. Yeah, and let me return some h1 tag child component. Yeah, yeah, we did export here. Let me import it here. As I mentioned in my previous video, we need to return a single parent element. So in my case, we are using empty tag. So if you don't know about empty tag, please check out my previous video. So I have explained why we are using empty tag here. So let me render the child component. Okay. So we'll see in the browser. Yeah, we can see app component is rendered and child also rendered. So we'll see what is mounting phase. So how it looks. I just do log child component is mounted, right? So you can see when I refresh, so because we are getting twice, right? So why we are getting twice? Because by default React uses in dev environment strict mode. So what this strict mode does, it will run the React application twice to check any syntax error or any code standards errors. So yeah, we will remove that to avoid some confusions. Yeah. So we should get only one time now. So you can see child component is mounted. So what is happening here? So child component, like what is child, like here, whatever we are JSX we are returning. So once it is mounted on the real DOM, so this we will get the log child component is mounted. Yeah, we can see child is mounted. And we'll see updating phases now. And go to app, and what I do, I just create a state called count, count, that count is equal to use state. So by default, I will keep as 0, and I will create a button here, will be increment, and on click, I will increment by 1, count plus 1. So this will increment every time 1 by 1. Okay, and let me pass this count here as a prop. So if you don't know what is prop and state, please check out my previous video. So I have explained everything there. Yeah, so we'll continue. So I will pass prop here count and to the child. And let me give some class to button tx3. I'm using Tailwind for this playlist as I mentioned in my previous video. So let me use Tailwind classes to and bg. I'll give green. Yeah, you see, yeah. And let me render that count here in the child component. So we will receive as a props. You can use any variable name here. So I'm just using props because that makes sense to understand this is a prop we are getting from parent component. So what I do, props we are getting, what we are passing here, we are passing yeah, we are passing count. So we will receive here props dot count. And let me do conditional here. So if props dot uh, count is equal to 0, so that is a mounting phase. So whenever this element is mounted on the real DOM, so at the first time the count will be 0, right? So that's why I'm using this condition to understand better. And this will be updating phase, because whenever the count is more than 1, that is updating phase, right? Because once user is clicked on button, so this state gonna increment by 1. So we saw definition, right? What is updating phase? So whenever state or prop changes, so component gonna re-render. So I'll see, let me say child component is updated, right? Yeah, we'll see in the console log now. And also I will log it, log here also, same thing. Okay. Yeah, instead of props.count, we have state here, count is what is it. And instead of child, we'll use app. So yeah, we'll see in the, let me refresh. So at first we can see app component is mounted and child component is also mounted because we are rendering both. So at the first time we will get this one. So only first time you will get this one as definition. So what is mounting phase? The component is mounted to real DOM at the first time, right? So only first time you will get this log. So when I click on increment, right? So check the logs. What is happening? Yeah, you can see app component is updated and child component is also updated. You can see increment by 1. You can see count here. So as definition of uh, what is the updating phase? So whenever props or state changes, component gonna re-render, right? So that is what we are happening. So let me see. Let me explain here. So in this case, in app component, what is happening? State is updating by 1, right? So that's why this component is re-rendering. So in child, what is happening? Props dot count is updating, right? So that's why this child component is again re-rendering. That's why we are getting component mode. Child component is updated, right? So we saw updating phase and mounting phase, right? So we'll see now what is unmounting, how unmounting phase happens. So in unmounting phase, we will not see the logs because this child component will be destroyed. So whenever it is not no more needed, right? So let me create another variable, not variable, state called show and set show. By default, it will be false. By default, it will be true, right? And I will conditionally render this one using curly bracket. Whenever it is show is true, then only I will render child component. So I will create another button called list here, set show. I will use false. Yeah, I will use hide as a button name. Okay. Yeah, you can see hide here. So just see what is happening in the console. Whenever I click, not in console, sorry. In this case, we will not get any console. So in this case, what is happening? You can check this out. Child component. Whenever I click on hide, what is happening? Okay. Set show is okay. There is some issue. Why this? Okay, I didn't use TM. So there's a typo. Let me correct that and let me refresh. Whenever I click on hide, check this out. What is happening? So child component is gone, and we got only app component is mounted, not the child component, because what has happened here? Child component got destroyed. So what is unmounting this? So when the application no more needed that component, that will destroy the component, right? So that's was the unmounting piece. Yeah, in this video we saw the life cycle of functional components. So yeah, and that's it about this video, guys. In next video we're gonna see the life cycle method, use of it. So using why we use of it in a React application, and we'll see some real world example. So please stay tuned. And if you have any questions and any confusion and any concern, please do comment below. So I will answer those.